Hawkins, and I work for Lindsay Unified School District, and I'm here today to talk about our lifelong learning and how we have addressed all parts of the learner in addition to academics as our important piece. Who are we? We are from California, yet we are not what you think of California. We are not San Diego, we are not San Francisco or LA. We are in the foothills, we are an agriculture area. If you eat fruits and vegetables, they probably come from where we live. So we serve learners from preschool all the way into adult education. Our population is primarily Hispanic and Latino. We have the farm workers out there picking the fruits. Our learners spend their Saturdays out with their families, helping support them through agricultural work. 45% of our population is English learners, and that is down 10% in the last couple of years. So we're really proud of the work we're doing to extend our English proficiency within our district. We have 13% of our learners that meet state and federal requirements for homelessness. Our parent education level is in elementary school. We have 100% of our learners receiving free and reduced lunch because about 94% of them qualify, so it's easier to just provide it for all of them. And because of our agriculture center, we have 30% of our learners who qualify for migrant services. We have an interesting group of migrant learners. They don't leave during the school year like many places in California have them leave randomly for growing seasons. Ours leave during the summer, so we actually don't lose out on a lot of their academic time, and we're able to serve them for most of the school year. We had a large call to action in 2006. It became apparent to the community that we were underserving their learners. We were graduating learners who were not prepared for life beyond the K-12 environment. Our valedictorians were going off to college and were taking remedial classes. Our learners, we were starting and increasing our numbers that were graduating and going off to university, but they were not staying in there. So we were having a lot of first-generation college goers, but not a lot of first-generation college graduates. And in response, the community decided to come together and address the needs of the learners. So in 2007, we had stakeholders, community business owners, the board of trustees, parents, classified staff, our teachers, all came together to discuss what we wanted for our graduates. What would life look like in our ideal experience for our learners when they left our system, and how could we make them successful beyond school? One of the outcomes within our strategic design was our lifelong learning. We looked at different areas where learners needed to be skilled in order to survive post K-12. And that didn't always deal with just academics, how do I get through school, but how do I have a growth mindset? How do I set goals and meet them? How do I deal with mental problems or physical abuse or other pieces that I may encounter sometime in my life after school? Not just with the intention of getting them to college, but how can I serve and be prosperous after I get out of school? It has been a road to implementation, so that was in 2007, and we are still doing a lot of work. In the beginning, we knew we had to identify standards, or it was going to just be a talk and no action. So to start, we developed initial standards that were more like work skills. They reminded me of the behavior type things I got graded on as a learner. I was satisfactory or excellent in completing work or being kind to my peers. Those were the types of things originally that were identified, but as we've evolved, we saw that's not what we wanted. We wanted real life skills that would take them beyond their K-12 education. So the standards were rewritten, and we had specific standards identified for spans of learners in K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12. And after a year or so of implementing those spans, we realized it still wasn't specific enough to what our teachers needed in order to implement them, because we saw that, yes, goal setting, but maybe the second grade was teaching it differently than a kindergarten, but they were telling learners that they had successfully done it, but there wasn't a common understanding of what that looked like. So we reformatted, had identifiable goals for each grade level of standards. And we're currently in our major roadblock, which if any of you have dealt with social emotional learning, it's emerging. In 2007, when we started identifying this, there was nothing out there. There wasn't talk about anything. And so it's been a process, and we're continuing through that, and we're currently developing resources and how do we support instruction, because most of our teachers are not skilled in teaching these skills because no one ever taught them. And so we're asking them to teach learners how to be empathetic or how to persevere, and they're not people who in their lives have been empathetic or been able to persevere through difficulties. So really finding resources to support instruction is where we kind of lie right now. And so we've been partnering with different companies to develop specific resources for our standards. And that's been another hard part, is we've pulled from different places. And so we've got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it's not just the traditional social emotional learning, it's some other skills that people will need. So there's not a program that we can purchase and put into place. So it's been a process in order to identify those. And then we have a large population that are needing tier 2 instruction. We're slowly flipping our triangle where our tier 1 instruction is the best, but we knew to get our lifelong learning in place, that had to become the key to our tier 1 instruction, and it is the base even before our academic instruction. Once our learners can really understand how to have a growth mindset, how to set goals, now they have the skills that they need in order to advance in their academic learning and move towards that first best instruction and be successful in their learning environments. Our next steps are continuing to develop our curricular resources, really aligning assessment across our sites. We have 6 K-8 sites, and we want to make sure when we say that a learner is proficient at goal setting at one of those, that's the same thing that a learner is being expected of at another site. So really building out those pieces. And then engaging the community and making sure that they are all on board, and the Starbucks barista is asking the learners about where they are in their lifelong learning when they go to get their coffee, and that the whole community has buy-in. And thank you.